Hello everyone, welcome to my workshop series, Empowering Faculty with AI for Scholarship and Teaching. This is the third workshop, AI for Research and Grant Writing. If you have attended our previous workshops, you already understand the capabilities and limitations of large language models and how to communicate effectively with them. Today, we're diving into a crucial topic for researchers: how AI can support and enhance your research workflow. While I will use ChatGPT for some demonstrations in this workshop, it's important to remember that there are other frontier large language models out there, such as Highflyer's DeepSeek, Google's Gemini, Anthropic's Cloud, Meta's Llama, xAI's Grok, and so on. Exploring multiple LLMs can provide a broader perspective on the unique strengths and applications each model offers. In 2018, Eric Bryjofsen, Tom Mitchell, and Daniel Rock published a paper titled "What Can Machines Learn and What Does It Mean for Occupations and the Economy?" What makes this paper particularly interesting is that it combines insights from economics and machine learning. Bryjofsen and Rock are economists, while Mitchell is a machine learning researcher. Although the paper focuses on AI's economic impact, its key insights are valuable beyond economics, especially for those of us looking to integrate AI into our work. One key takeaway is a new way of thinking about jobs. Rather than viewing a job as a single entity, we should view a job as a collection of tasks. Let's take an example. What does a general physician do? A physician's job includes many different tasks, such as analyzing patient records, detecting patterns in lab tests and scans, explaining diagnosis and treatment, and so on and so forth. Now, let's ask ourselves, which of these tasks are more susceptible to automation using AI? Let's fill in the second column in this table. Analyzing patient records? It is highly AI suitable. Detecting patterns in lab tests and scans? Sure. What about explaining diagnosis and treatment? I would say it's okay, so I put a medium there. Providing emotional support? Well, for this one, I think at this moment, the AI suitable is low. Performing physical exams and surgeries? As of right now, it is low. As we can see from this example, some tasks can be efficiently automated using AI. However, others, like critical decision-making, empathy, and physical procedures, remain inherently human. So what we can see here is that most jobs, including those in academia, consist of a mix of automatable and non-automatable tasks. So AI is not replacing entire jobs, it's automating specific tasks within jobs. A report from Anthropic titled "Which Economic Tasks Are Performed with AI? Evidence from Millions of Cloud Conversations." This report provides real-world insights into how professionals are using AI today. Researchers analyzed millions of interactions with cloud, an advanced large language model from Anthropic, to understand the kinds of tasks users rely on AI for. The findings confirm what we have been discussing. That is, first, AI automates tasks, not entire jobs. 36% of occupations use AI for at least 25% of their tasks, but only 4% rely on AI for most of their work. Second, AI is more about augmentation than full automation. 57% of usage suggests augmentation of human capabilities, for example, learning or iterating on an output, while 43% suggests automation, for example, fulfilling a request with minimal human involvement. Third, AI adoption is highest in cognitive tasks like writing and coding, but minimal in jobs requiring physical skills or human judgment. This aligns perfectly with Bryofsen and colleagues' earlier findings. AI is changing how we work, not eliminating jobs. So what's the key takeaway? We need to rethink work. AI automates tasks, not jobs. And this is the mindset we'll be using throughout today's workshop. Instead of asking, will AI replace researchers? We should be asking, which research tasks can AI assist with? Now, let's dive into what researchers do daily and see where AI fits into the picture. So, what does a researcher do every day? For example, as a researcher, I need to find research ideas, validate research ideas by checking feasibility, novelty, and potential impact, conduct a literature review to stay updated with recent advancements and identifying research gaps, process and analyze data, write research articles, conference papers, and technical reports, review papers to provide peer feedback, evaluate research quality, secure funding by writing compelling proposals, serve as a reviewer to review other researchers' proposals, and of course, guide my students in their academic journey, and so on. This is not an exhaustive list, but it gives us a broad overview of the tasks that make up the daily life of a researcher. So the question is, where does AI fit in? I would say AI fits in every task. But let me be clear, I don't think AI can completely automate every single task. We still need a human in the loop to provide guidance, expertise, critical thinking, and ethical considerations to ensure accuracy and integrity. Instead of thinking about AI as a replacement, a better way to frame it is, how can AI help me and my team work faster, smarter, and more effectively? Next, let's take a closer look at one of the most important early-stage research tasks: finding research ideas. One of the most important and often the most challenging parts of being a researcher is finding good research ideas. Where do great ideas come from? I think AI can assist in this process in 3 ways. First, I often use ChatGPT as a brainstorming partner. As researchers, we frequently spot interesting problems by reading papers, news, or discussing ideas with colleagues. But what about refining those raw thoughts into strong, actionable research questions? That's where AI can help. I typically write a short paragraph about my initial idea and ask ChatGPT to expand on the idea, suggest variations or improvements, highlight potential challenges, and even draft a preliminary research proposal. Let me show you an example. Here is a paragraph about a research problem. First, I introduced the background. I am a professor who teaches a senior design course where students work in teams to develop software solutions for clients. The second paragraph explains the current challenge. For a team project, there may be issues like free riding and social loafing, which affect fairness and team morale. Communication breakdowns and conflicts may also go unnoticed until late in the project. So all those issues may diminish learning outcomes for a team project. And the last paragraph describes my instruction. I seek to initiate a research project to develop systematic solutions for fair assessment, contribution tracking, and early conflict detection in team-based software development courses. I'm asking ChatGPT to provide some feedback on this project. And here is the response. First, it talks about the strength and importance. And here is the feedback on challenges and considerations. It even shows me some potential research directions, things like automated contribution tracking, peer evaluation, and self-evaluation. It even recommends me to use natural language processing techniques to identify signs of miscommunication or conflict. Finally, I need a dashboard to aggregate all those information. Not bad, Then I asked ChatGPT to come up with a formal research proposal. And there you go. Title, PI, abstract. Here is a draft introduction, research objectives, literature review, methodology, expected outcomes, significance and impact, and even shows a temporary timeline. It also gives me an estimate of resources and budget, and so on. After reading this, I can continue to refine my idea. As you can see, this makes the idea refinement process faster and more dynamic. I got instant feedback. Let's go back to the slides. The second way AI can help find research ideas is that AI can provide valuable interdisciplinary insights. One of AI's biggest advantages is its breadth of knowledge. Large language models like ChatGPT have been trained on vast amounts of information from multiple disciplines, far more than any individual researcher could ever read. This makes AI a powerful advisor for interdisciplinary research, helping us uncover connections between fields that we might not have considered on our own. For example, let's say I specialize in neuroscience, and I'm curious about potential collaborations between neuroscience and, say, music. So I ask ChatGPT for possible research directions. And guess what? It suggests a fascinating interdisciplinary project exploring how musical rhythm influences brain function and cognitive performance. You see, bridging the fields of music theory, psychology, and neuroscience. This is an idea a neuroscientist might never have arrived on her own, but AI, with its vast knowledge base, can surface unexpected and innovative connections, making it an invaluable tool for interdisciplinary exploration. The third point, AI can enable new solutions to long-standing problems. So what does it mean? Some research problems have been around for decades. They are well known, widely studied, but just difficult to solve. Now, with recent AI breakthroughs, we can revisit these challenges with fresh perspectives. A great example of this is AlphaFold, an AI model developed by Google's DeepMind that solved the long-standing challenge of predicting protein structures. Biochemists had been working on this problem for more than 50 years, and suddenly, with AI, we had a game-changing solution. The problem was old, but the solution was new. This approach, that is, re-examining existing problems through the lens of AI, is an excellent research path. So ask yourself, are there persistent challenges in your field that AI might now be able to solve? How could AI's powerful pattern recognition, prediction, or optimization capabilities provide a fresh approach? Next, we'll discuss how to determine whether your research problem is suitable for AI-based approaches. Since this workshop is designed for researchers from all disciplines, not just computer scientists, so I want to take a moment to discuss how to effectively use AI, particularly machine learning, into your research projects. Many people have unrealistic expectations of AI. They believe that AI is a magic solution that can solve any research problem. But here is the truth. AI is powerful, but it is not a panacea. Some problems fit well with machine learning, while others do not. So, how do we determine whether AI is a good fit for a particular research problem? I will show you a very simple test to check if machine learning can help you in your research. Then, I will walk you through some successful applications of AI in research across different disciplines. The first and most fundamental question to ask is, do you have enough high-quality training data in an input-output format? Machine learning models require structured, labeled data to learn from. If your research problem can be framed as a mapping between inputs and outputs, then AI might be a good fit. Let me show you some examples. Here is a research problem from environmental sciences. Bats play a vital role in ecosystems. As you may know, bats navigate and find insect prey using echolocation. Bats can change their calls for different purposes. They have different navigation, feeding, and social calls. And each species of bat has its own unique call pattern. And one key research challenge for ecologists is distinguishing among echolocation calls, social calls, and feeding buzzes across different bat species. Over the years, ecologists have tirelessly collected numerous bat call recordings, manually and carefully identified both the species and the purpose of each bat call. These expert-labeled recordings became the training data for a machine learning model, enabling it to learn patterns, distinguishing species and call types. So let's try to frame this problem into an input-output machine learning problem. So the input to the machine learning model is the audio recording of bat calls. Here is an example. Bat call 1.wave. And the output is the species and sound classification. And here is one example. So bat call 1 corresponds to common pipistrelle, which is one of the most common bat species in the British Isles. And the purpose of this call is for navigation. As I said before, there are many labeled data in the training dataset. This AI-driven algorithm was developed by BTO, British Trust for Ornithology. It was used to process and classify over 3 million recorded bat calls in the bailiwick of Guernsey, significantly improving the speed and accuracy of bat population monitoring and conservation efforts. As you can see, AI provides a scalable and efficient solution for automating this task. Very cool. The second example is a research problem from pathology. Detecting cancer in tissue samples is a critical challenge in medical diagnostics. Researchers developed a real-time, non-invasive tumor detection method by integrating machine learning with Raman spectroscopy. Raman spectroscopy uses laser light to analyze tissue composition, capturing spectral data that highlights biochemical differences between healthy and cancerous cells. By analyzing how light scatters, this technique detects subtle molecular changes in DNA, proteins, lipids, and membrane structures, which serve as inputs for the machine learning model. To prepare the training dataset, the pathologists collected hundreds of Raman spectra from tissue samples, carefully identifying cancerous and healthy tissues based on their biochemical composition. These expert-labeled spectra became the training data for a neural network, allowing it to learn patterns that distinguish cancerous from non-cancerous tissue. So, the input to the machine learning model is the intensity of Raman signals at key wave numbers, which reflect differences in DNA, proteins, lipids, and other cellular components. And the output is the probability that the tissue is cancerous. Don't worry about the terminologies. I have no idea of what they are either. The important thing is we successfully frame a biochemical problem into a machine learning problem in the format of input-output. So let me show you some sample data. Each input has 9 numbers. They are the intensity of Raman signals at key wave numbers. And as you can see, the output is the probability that the tissue is cancerous. By leveraging AI, this method provides a fast, accurate, and scalable alternative to traditional pathology techniques, allowing for instant cancer detection during surgery and improving patient outcomes. If you're interested, Read this paper published in Scientific Reports. The third example is from linguistics. Traditionally, translation required human expertise, and early computer translators relied on rule-based systems, which were often rigid and error-prone. Fortunately, there exists a large number of parallel corpora. A parallel corpus is a collection of text that have been translated into multiple languages. The Bible is a perfect example of parallel corpus, since it has been translated into hundreds of other languages by human translators. So let's try to frame this problem into an input-output machine learning problem. So the input to the machine learning model is a sentence or paragraph in one language, and the output is the translated text in another language. And here are some example data. As you can see, I'm trying to translate from English to Chinese. So those parallel corpora were used to train a language translation model, which is how Google Translate is implemented. The last example I want to show you is from biochemistry. As you may know, proteins are composed of amino acids, which are small organic molecules that serve as the building blocks of these complex macromolecules. There are 20 different types of amino acids that can be combined in various ways to form proteins. Proteins naturally fold into complex 3D shapes, which determine their functionality. But experimentally determining protein structures is expensive, time-consuming, and often infeasible. Nevertheless, over the past 60 years, researchers have experimentally mapped a few hundred thousands of protein structures, about 150,000, then painstakingly cataloging them in the Protein Data Bank, or PDB. These expert-determined structures became the training data for AI models, allowing them to learn patterns in protein folding and predict structures from amino acid sequences. So, how do we frame this problem into an input-output machine learning problem? The input to the machine learning model is just an amino acid sequence, and the output is the 3D coordinates of a folded protein. And here are some example training data. This AI-driven approach, pioneered by DeepMind's AlphaFold, has revolutionized structural biology by accurately predicting protein structures in hours instead of years. Recall that over the past 60 years, biochemists figured out around 150,000 protein structures experimentally, but AlphaFold itself has predicted over 200 million protein structures, nearly all cataloged proteins known to science. That's so incredible. In 2024, David Baker, Demis Hassabis, and John Jumper were co-awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry for their work developing AlphaFold. Here is the Nature paper on AlphaFold. Take a look if you're interested. Now that we have explored real-world examples of AI-powered research, let's take a moment to think about how AI can apply to your own field. Each of the examples we discussed, bat call identification, tumor tissue detection, translation, and protein structure prediction, became possible because researchers had access to high-quality dataset. These datasets allowed machine learning models to recognize patterns, make predictions, and automate complex tasks. So, I'd like to ask you, what kinds of datasets exist in your field? What patterns or predictions could AI uncover from these datasets? And are there manual, time-consuming tasks in your research that AI could help automate? Each question may lead to several good research projects and papers. However, I want to remind you that the hardest part of using AI is not the model. It's data collection and preparation. You may not have enough data, or in some cases, there may be no available dataset to train a machine learning model. Remember, AI models are only as good as the data you fit them. In many research fields, data can be messy, incomplete, biased, or even difficult to obtain. And these challenges must be addressed before AI can be effectively applied. I would like to show you some resources. Both Kaggle and Hugging Face contain many public datasets. Go there and get some inspiration from the public datasets in these two websites. Maybe you can find some open and public data in your field and start from there. I have included links to these two websites in the description of this video. Okay, so far, you might already have some great research ideas where you think AI can help. But as researchers from non-computer science disciplines, you might be wondering, how can I actually implement AI in my research? There are three practical approaches, depending on your experience, resources, and research needs. The first one is the DIY approach. You learn and implement AI by yourself. If you're interested in learning AI on your own, there are excellent online courses to get started. For example, I highly recommend the Deep Learning Specialization and Machine Learning Specialization by Andrew. You can find the two links in the description of this video. However, this approach requires a basic understanding of Python. You also need a solid foundation in mathematics, such as linear algebra, probability and statistics, and a little calculus. It's best for those who want full control over AI implementation in their research. The second approach is to collaborate with computer scientists. If you don't have the time or background to learn AI, a great alternative is to collaborate with AI experts from the Department of Computer Science or Data Science. This is a perfect opportunity for interdisciplinary research projects. But before you talk to your CS colleagues, make sure you first frame your research problem as a machine learning problem by defining input, output, and available dataset. You can then hire some computer science or data science students to train and implement AI models for your research. Many CS departments offer a senior design or capstone project course. You can take advantage of that opportunity. You can then co-author with computer science faculty to integrate AI into your work. The third approach is to leverage your institution's AI center, realizing the potential and huge impact of AI. Many universities and institutions now have AI centers that support researchers from various disciplines. These centers provide technical support, AI tools, and consulting services to help integrate AI into your research. You can also use your AI center's pre-trained AI models and cloud-based AI platforms, so you don't need to build models from scratch. This is called a no-code or low-code approach. If your institution does not have an AI center yet, now is the time to advocate for AI infrastructure to support interdisciplinary research. Feel free to use this workshop as a resource to help persuade university leadership, including the deans, the provost, and the president, about the importance of AI in research and education. Okay, we have spent quite some time in finding research ideas with the help of AI, and even discussed how to get yourself ready for the journey. But once you have a research idea, the next step is validating it, making sure it's novel, feasible, and well-structured. One powerful tool for this is ChatGPT. While AI cannot replace domain experts, it can be a valuable assistant in brainstorming, refining, and stress testing your initial ideas. Here is how I use ChatGPT to validate research ideas in an iterative process. To begin, the researcher formulates an initial research idea by writing a brief paragraph with sufficient background and context. This idea can be fed into ChatGPT for initial feedback on key aspects such as novelty, feasibility, suitable research methodologies, estimated scope, budget, and potential challenges, like the example I showed you earlier. Since ChatGPT has been trained on vast academic literature, it can provide valuable early-stage insights immediately. Beyond feedback, ChatGPT can assist in generating detailed research questions, refining definitions, identifying key concepts, suggesting relevant keywords, and recommending suitable academic databases for literature review. With this insight, a structured draft research proposal can be generated, as you see here. You can then share this research proposal with your colleagues for further discussion and refinement. For the literature review, AI tools such as Elicit, ResearchRabbit, and Cite.ai can help find relevant papers quickly. AI can help summarize key findings, compare methodologies, and highlight research gaps. Finally, based on the insights gathered from the literature review and feedback from ChatGPT and maybe your colleagues, the initial research idea can then be refined, leading to another iteration of the process. I want to point out that traditionally, this research cycle takes several months, but with AI assistance, it can be significantly shortened to just days. Try it in your next research project. But remember, we must keep human researchers in the loop to provide feedback and guidance. In the last slide, I already mentioned AI can help conduct a literature review. Let's be more specific. One of the most time-consuming parts of research is conducting a literature review. Traditionally, this involves searching hundreds of papers, filtering them, reading them, summarizing key findings, and mapping research gaps. This process can easily take weeks or even months. But AI is changing that. With the right tools, you can search, summarize, and analyze academic papers more efficiently. To search relevant papers, I recommend these tools: Perplexity, Elicit, ResearchRabbit, and Cite.ai. For knowledge management, I recommend Notebook LM, developed by Google. So let me show you a quick demo of Notebook LM. Notebook LM is a wonderful knowledge management tool offered by Google. Let me show you how to use it to analyze research papers. So first, let's create a notebook. In the left column, let's click Add Source. You can add PDF files, TXT, Markdown, and even audio. You also can add Google Docs, Google Slides, or just the link to a website or a YouTube. In this demo, let's just upload several papers. Okay, so the 4 papers are uploaded. The first one is the bad call identification. Second one is AlphaFold. Third one is tumor tissue detection using AI and Raman spectroscopy. The last one is a review paper on recent applications of AI to environmental disciplines. In the middle column here, we can chat with all those papers. As you can see here, Notebook LM suggests the question that I should ask, like how can Raman spectroscopy and AI predict breast cancer probability? So let's click this. The large language model used by Notebook LM is Google's Gemini. What I really like about the answer is that Notebook LM provides clear citations for its work, showing us the exact quotes from our sources, like this. So here, it shows me it derives the answer based on these paragraphs. Here, let me ask Notebook LM to summarize the 4 papers. Based on the 4 papers I uploaded, summarize the applications of AI in various disciplines. Okay. It looks good. So those points are from this paper. Protein structure prediction is from the second paper. Medical diagnosis is from the third paper. I do not see anything from the first paper. So let me keep asking. What about the bad call identification from the first paper? And now it summarizes the first paper. Okay, so this is a perfect example that even though AI is very powerful, but sometimes it may overlook something. It really needs feedback and review from human researchers. And you can do similar things in ChatGPT. And one thing I really like about tools like Notebook LM and ChatGPT is that they can help me quickly get the gist of a long paper. So I can ask questions to a large language model instead of skimming the 30 pages to look for an answer. There is a fancy term for this. It is called conversational learning. And let me show you another example using ChatGPT. In this example, I uploaded the paper about Raman spectroscopy to ChatGPT. As you can see, ChatGPT quickly summarizes this paper. Okay. But what I want to point out is that I can chat with this paper to quickly get the information that I need. For example, as a computer scientist, I may not be interested in how the data were collected, cleaned, and pre-processed. I am more interested in how they used neural networks in this research. So instead of opening the PDF and skim the 10 pages or 20 pages to look for this information, I can simply ask this question. I'm very interested in how they used neural networks in this research. And ChatGPT finds those paragraphs and provides me with this nice summary. So here is the neural network architecture: 9 nodes, 6 nodes, 3 nodes, hidden layer, upper layer. And here is the training process, classification, key findings, and so on and so forth. And I may have more questions. For example, I will ask, what does the input and output of this neural network look like? Show me 3 examples. And guess what? ChatGPT came up with those very nice examples. The input has 9 features. And to be honest, I used ChatGPT to prepare the slide I just showed you on tumor tissue prediction. And here I'm asking it to create a negative example. The tissue is non-cancerous, is healthy. I still don't understand the input. Can you explain the 9 numbers as input? Okay. ChatGPT is very patient and elaborates the meanings of the 9 input numbers. But I still don't understand. So I'm saying, I'm a computer scientist. I do not understand the terminologies in biochemistry. And ChatGPT replies, got it. Let's break it down in computer science terms without heavy biochemistry. Now it's trying to use my language, computer science language, to explain the meaning of those 9 numbers. Very impressive. Here is another question. By the way, the link to this conversation is available in the description of this video. So I think now I can no longer read a paper without the help of ChatGPT. Maybe I shouldn't rely too much on ChatGPT. But it does improve my productivity, so I can read more papers. Let's go back to the slides. Next, let's talk about processing and analyzing data using AI. In the first workshop, I demonstrated the incredible capabilities of large language models to understand and generate text. Tools like ChatGPT can be powerful assets for processing, analyzing, and summarizing text-based data. So here, the data means text-based data. So if your research involves natural language processing tasks, such as summarization, thematic analysis, sentiment analysis, information extraction, or text cleaning, there's no need to build complex AI models from scratch. Instead, you can easily leverage existing large language models through either their web interfaces or APIs. So for most text processing and analysis needs, off-the-shelf large language models like ChatGPT and DeepSeek are already powerful enough to deliver high-quality results. However, if your research projects requires customizing a large language model by incorporating private, unpublished text data, you will need to use advanced techniques such as retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, and model fine-tuning. I covered both of these techniques in detail in Workshop 2. That said, it's important to recognize that RAG and model fine-tuning are highly complex processes. They demand a deep understanding of large language models, advanced programming skills, and significant computational resources. If your research project requires RAG or fine-tuning, I strongly recommend consulting an LLM expert rather than attempting to implement these techniques on your own. Next, let's talk about how to apply AI in writing paper, reviewing paper, writing grant proposals, and reviewing grant proposals. Let's start with drafting papers. One common misconception about large language models is that they can instantly generate a complete research paper or thesis just by providing a research question and a few simple prompts. But that's not how it works. LLMs are not autonomous research assistants. They require human guidance, iteration, and refinement. Think back to the analogy from our first workshop. Think of a large language model as a college grad, knowledgeable but in need of clear instructions, structured guidance, and continuous feedback. You cannot just hand over a vague prompt and expect a perfect paper. Instead, interacting with large language models should be a dynamic, human-in-the-loop process, where you review outputs, refine prompts, and steer the model in the right direction. So a better approach is what I called the snowball approach. Start by asking the large language model to outline a structured plan or roadmap for the paper. The roadmap serves as an overarching structure for your writing process. Once the structure is set, you can then work on sections in sequence or in any logical order that fits your workflow. For example, you can begin with the introduction, ensuring that it aligns with the research questions and related literature. As you progress, the large language model can build on previous context, incorporating relevant citations, refining arguments, and maintaining coherence across sections. To enhance your academic writing, I recommend two AI tools. The first one is ChatGPT Canvas, which was covered in Workshop 2. This tool helps you draft papers section by section, allowing for iteration, feedback, and structured writing. The second tool is called Napkin AI. It is used to create visuals and diagrams to support your research. Here, I want to share with you some useful prompts for academic writing. The links are available in the description of this video. When you use AI to draft your paper, here are some caveats. Large language models are still quite lousy at providing in-text citations and bibliographies, so carefully verify all the citations. Second, misinformation is another concern, as large language models generate text based on patterns, not factual accuracy. So, cross-check key claims with peer-reviewed sources. Third, AI plagiarism. In some respects, Large language models like ChatGPT may generate responses which contain verbatim copies of text from its training dataset. Last but not least, academic integrity is crucial, as some publishers require disclosure of using GenAI during writing, and AI-generated text may be flagged by detection tools like ZeroGPT, GPT-0, Grammarly, Quillbot, and so on. So use AI responsibly. And here are some examples of publishers' authorship policy on GenAI. For example, ChatGPT may not be listed as authors. The use of GenAI must be fully disclosed. This is the policy from ACM. And next, very similar, from IEEE, the use of GenAI shall be disclosed. If you're using a tool like Grammarly to correct spelling or grammar, it is not necessary to disclose such usage. So make sure you read your publisher's authorship policy before drafting your paper. All right, next, reviewing papers. You can use large language models to generate a mock review of your own paper, helping you refine your manuscript before submission. However, be cautious. Anything uploaded to ChatGPT or other cloud-based AI models should be considered public information. So there is a risk to privacy and intellectual property. In the next workshop, I will cover how to deploy a large language model locally on your own computer, ensuring that your data remains private and secure while still benefiting from AI-powered assistancy. For reviewing others' research manuscripts, most publishers explicitly prohibit the use of generative AI due to the concerns about confidentiality, integrity, and potential inaccuracies. So always check the reviewer's policy and handbook, and when in doubt, avoid uploading confidential content to AI tools. Next, let's talk about drafting grant proposals using AI. Grant writing requires a clear understanding of funding requirements from the call for proposals. It also requires a well-structured proposal with a persuasive writing. That is where AI can help. AI can assist by analyzing call for proposals, like in this example, act as an experienced grant advisor specializing in advising and writing proposals, perform an in-depth analysis of all the documents, and summarize your key findings on the basic requirements to design a strong proposal for a certain funding program, and so on and so forth. This prompt is provided by Chen, Henderson, and Cruz in their workshop called Generative AI Essentials, Introducing Your Digital Colleague. Here are some curated AI resources. The first one is provided by a Stanford professor on AI-assisted proposal development. The second one provides guidance from Texas Tech Library on using AI for grant applications. So take a look at these two resources. Similar to paper writing, proposers are encouraged to disclose their usage of generative AI in grant applications, ensuring transparency and compliance with funding agency policies. I have to say that while AI can streamline parts of the process, successful grant proposals still require human judgment to ensure accuracy, innovation, feasibility, and strategic alignment with the funding goals. Then what about reviewing grant proposals? I think you already know the answer. It's fine to use large language models to review your own grant proposal, but privacy is a major concern, right? If you are reviewing other researchers' proposals, do not upload them to any large language model. This violates confidentiality agreements and ethical guidance. NSF and NIH explicitly prohibit the use of generative AI in the review process. Just don't do it. Protecting the integrity of peer evaluation is essential. In the end, let's talk about how AI can help mentor your student researchers. Large language models like ChatGPT can serve as valuable mentors for PhD students, offering guidance on, for example, research trends, state-of-the-art techniques, and evaluation methods. By engaging in a structured conversation and asking the right questions, students can quickly get up to speed in their field. So here is one example. Assume I'm a fresh PhD candidate in computer science, and I'm curious about how to start my research. So I can ask ChatGPT, my co-advisor, how should I start my research? It tells me to break it down into several steps, identify my research interest, conduct a literature review, define a problem, develop a plan, experiment, prototyping, engage, publish, maintain productivity. Okay, so that's a very nice outline. Or we can be more specific about a research topic. So for example, my research interest is software engineering, which is a subfield in computer science. And here are some very good advice. Explore research areas. And it shows me some top conferences in this domain. And here are some popular academic databases where I can find survey papers or literature review papers, identify trends and gaps, define the problem, and here's some example problems, a research plan, and so on and so forth. Since I'm pretty new, I have some, quote, stupid questions that I may hesitate to ask my advisor. So I would just ask ChatGPT because it's just a robot. So what's the difference between research problem and research question? Okay, so here is the explanation, the key differences, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's go back to the slides. I think one important contribution of AI to academia is its ability to bridge the gap for students who may have limited access to their advisors, whether due to time constraints or availability. AI can help students by answering common research questions anytime. So no need to wait for the weekly or monthly advisor meetings. You get answers immediately. Providing instant feedback for research ideas. Recall how I use AI to validate research ideas in an iterative process. The third one, which I also think is very important, AI is always patient and non-judgmental. So students can ask unlimited questions without fear of embarrassment. While AI cannot replace human mentorship, it can definitely be a qualified co-advisor, helping students stay on track even when their human advisors are busy. Before we conclude this workshop, I want to highlight an exciting future direction. AI is no longer just a tool for analysis. It is evolving into a co-scientist, actively collaborating with human researchers to tackle complex and interesting scientific challenges. At Stanford's virtual lab, AI agents take on expert roles, such as biologists, machine learning specialists, and research critics, engaging in team discussions to refine research questions and individual sessions, to execute tasks like coding or literature review. This AI-driven approach has already contributed to drug discovery and protein design. Similarly, Google's AI co-scientist, powered by its Gemini model, functions as a virtual research collaborator, generating novel hypotheses and research proposals to accelerate biomedical breakthroughs. So I think the future of science lies in collaborative intelligence, where humans and AI work together to drive innovation and solve some of the world's most complex and exciting problems. In conclusion, in this workshop, we first identified common academic tasks and then explore how AI can assist in each step. AI is a powerful tool for researchers, helping with idea generation, literature reviews, drafting papers, grant writing, and so on and so forth. However, AI does not replace human expertise. It is a collaborator that enhances efficiency, creativity, and problem solving when used effectively. But be mindful of privacy and academic integrity. AI should be used responsibly, especially in reviewing confidential content. Moving forward, I encourage you to explore AI tools in your research flow. Identify areas where AI can assist. Experiment with different tools and approaches that I showed you in this workshop, and always stay updated on evolving best practices. Again, AI is here to empower researchers, not replace them. It's up to us to use it wisely and effectively. Thank you for attending this workshop, and I look forward to seeing how you integrate AI into your own research. In the next workshop, we'll discuss how to apply AI in teaching. See you there.